Hey, interestingly enough, I was talking to another friend who was going through, actually, she had gone through a similar situation where she was working for an educational entity. Not that this just happens at educational organizations, but it was on the university level. I'll just leave it at that. But it was just very chaotic. There was a lot of the back office nepotism, friendsism, um, insecurity, just mess. Okay, just mess. And she's a very conscientious, hardworking kind of person. And she's the kind of person that you want to have working for you if you have an organization. And I really vibe with her because I come ready to work, ready to get the job done, and ready to work with everybody. Having said that, there are a couple of things that she mentioned to me that I was listening to because she had just gone through something very similar. And in her situation, she decided to quit. Now, I'm never here to tell anybody what they should or shouldn't do because I'm not in that situation. And every situation is got all the, it's got all these different sides, and that changes the dynamics. But it was something to consider. And so, first of all, I never want to be in a position where I'm working someplace where I'm miserable. That's just first and foremost. Two, I want to see how I can make it work, what changes I can make, how can I work with the powers that be to improve the situations, whether it's related to coworkers or policy or whatever it is. So that's always my come from, because Lord knows finding a job is a job. So it's not necessarily a fun thing for me, but I always give it 150%. But anyway, this is something that she had gone through. And so here's some things to consider. One, quiet quitting. I'm not saying you should. I'm not saying I'm for it. I'm just saying it's a thing. Quiet quitting, and you can look it up, is basically where you don't quit the job. You continue to work the job. But I'll say it from my perspective. It's not that you go there and don't work. Of course you go and you do your work. But for people who are overachievers, people who are A-type personalities like me, we go in and we give it 175% when the task really only called for 99% to get the job done. And in some cases, some jobs, I've been told, they're like, you could have done 77%. And that's way better than what we usually get. To me, so in a sense, that's on me. That's my fault for burning myself out. But quiet quitting is along the lines of not giving it 200% if the task or the job calls for 97.5%. And okay, that's one, quiet quitting. Two is my friend was telling me that in her case, her situation was so toxic that she felt like the only thing that she could do was to put in her resignation. And that might be the route that you take. But putting in a resignation, if you resign, you do not get, in most states or different states, you won't get the benefit of unemployment insurance. Look it up in your state. I'm not exactly sure where you are, but there's that. And so if you're fired, which I was always raised to think you don't ever want to be fired, but I'm saying that everything is relative. If you're fired and they let you go, there's the possibility of also having severance pay. It depends on your job. It depends on your company. But it is a thing, and that's why I'm bringing it up. So if you're fired versus quitting or resigning, then there's the unemployment insurance and the possibility of severance, and there may be other benefits too. I don't know. If you're fired, I think if you quit, then okay, I'm not an attorney, so I just play one on TV. I'm not an attorney, but there are some other things to consider. And last, there was a question of if your company is an at-will employer, that you don't have any rights. I'm finding out that that is not necessarily true. Every situation is different. It really depends on your specific situation, but it is a thing. So all I'm saying is just to know your options and just know what the possibilities could be for you. At the end of the day, do what is best for you. Do it with a pure heart, and move forward. So that's all I got to say on that. Wishing you well. If you want to know what it looked like on my first day after I was let go, I won't even say first day. I'll say day 0. What did I do when I left when I drove away? Where did I do, and what did I do for me? And surprisingly, it was kind of really exciting. So if you're interested, find that video, and I will see you then.